Yo, 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 what's good? It's your boy Phoenix J back with another Explain video. It's good to see you guys. Hope everybody's doing well. We are at Santa Barbara Municipal Airport down in Santa Barbara, California off the West Coast. And sitting in front of you is the Boeing 737-800, which the aircraft will be doing this approach in. And yeah, I said approach. We're gonna be doing something a little different. We're going to break down an instrument approach. I know that for the past couple of days, my boy HD Simulation and Captain Geo have been on a little feud about this here approach. And so I thought it'd be cool to make a video that pretty much explains how to fly the approach properly as published. And so we're gonna jump in. First things first, we're going to look at the approach plate and decode some of the information there. And then the second part of this video, we'll shoot the approach. We're going to do it twofold. One time we'll do it inside the 737, and then we'll come back and shoot it in the Cessna 172, and I'll explain to you why. We're going to look at it from a glass cockpit, so to speak, version of the depicted route, and then we're going to jump inside the 172 and fly it with the old steam gauges, so you can actually see the needles and things move in and out and turning your knobs, all that good stuff. One thing is, when you're shooting these approaches in an airliner, things happen very, very quickly. So you got to be on your toes when you're shooting these approaches in the airliners, because it will get away from you quick. The 172, also your general aviation aircraft, which I say that these instrument approaches shine with those old aircraft, because it makes you put the work in. It makes you have to cross-reference your course and to find out where you are exactly and things of that nature. Not relying solely on your GPS, because you may lose your GPS, and what do? Exactly. So this is going to be a series that I'm going to start breaking down some of these approach charts, shooting the approach charts, and then have fun watching you guys rock out with them. So without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and jump into the runway 25 VOR approach for Santa Barbara. All right, so here we are, Santa Barbara, California. I always want to double check, make sure you are looking at the right chart. We're looking at the VOR 25 approach, instrument approach. Now let's get something straight. The VOR and the GPS are pretty much essentially the same. However, you're using two different systems in essence to get down to the ground. GPS using more of your global positioning, coordinate type of navigational system, your GN 530s and your Garmin 1000s and 735s and 7, whatever they are. That's what you're gonna use that for. But we're not doing a GPS. We're doing the VOR. We're gonna fly it old school, VOR to VOR. All right. That's the first thing you want to check, and make sure you got the right chart, and that you are shooting. You understand that you are shooting one or the other. All right. Moving right along, we've got, we'll break it down. VOR, the VOR that we'll be using to track this approach gonna be the Gaviota VOR, right? And that's gonna be in our nav1 radio 113.8. The final approach course is going to be 279 degrees, so we'll keep that in mind for the final part of the approach. And here you got runway runway length 6,052. Touchdown zone as 10,000, and airport. I'm sorry, 10, and airport elevation is 10 as well. All right, 10 feet, 10 feet, 10 feet. That's what we got right there. All right. Next box is going to be your some little information that you probably would need to know if you're operating at the airport at a certain time. This is something that's pretty much the standard for this airport. And that first one is going to be night landing runway 15 right is not, it's a no-no. You can't do it. Can't land at night. Doing a night approach, a night ops, you're not allowed to land on 15 right. Helicopter visibility reduction below 3/4 statute miles visibility is a no-no. Anything below that, you cannot. If it's reduced by 3/4, you cannot do it. All right. The next thing is going to have something to do with altitude, or with your altimeter. Sorry, it's going to have something to do with your altimeter. And I remember altimeter is important. That pretty much lets you know your altitude relative to the ground. All right. So by setting that number, it lets you know whether you're 5,000 feet above the ground below you. All right. If you fly into Santa Barbara and for some reason you can't get the altimeter, they advise you to use the Oxnard altimeter setting and increase all MDAs by 100 feet. In addition to that, Cat B and Cat C visibility has to be increased 1/4 mile. All right. So that's in the event you can't get the ATIS at Santa Barbara. You can tune over to Oxnard and still shoot the approach. Remember, you have to add those two key things. All right. Especially if you're on a Cat B or a Cat C system. All right. Below that, we got ATIS information, our radio frequencies. ATIS. You have your Santa Barbara approach control, Santa Barbara tower, Santa Barbara ground, clearance delivery, and Unicom. All right. Self-explanatory. Above your ground controller and your next to your little special note there, you have the missed approach procedure. And these charts are different. Within this series, I'm going to use the Jefferson chart, and I'm also use the governmental chart, so you can see the differences on how these things are depicted. Information relatively the same, but the layout is different. Certain things are different. Certain items on the chart are different. They're different. So the legend is different. So we'll use both charts within the series to break it down, so you're not lost on any one. All right, but we'll come back and take a look at the missed approach when we get to talking about the missed approach, and missed approach will be done in red. All right. Below that, keep moving right along. Below that, we've got the depicted picture of the approach. All right, this is what you're gonna do. This is what it should look like if we took the map of if we took your flight radar map, you should see something relative to what we're about to draw. All right. But first things first, what we're gonna do when we shoot the approach, we're gonna start off at the Gullet intersection, which is 18 nautical miles, 18.7 nautical miles from the Gaviato VOR. All right, and what we're gonna be doing, we're gonna be holding, gonna circle that hold in a 307 inbound track and a 127 outbound track, and we'll make a right turn. All right, make right turns. Also be at 8,000. We're gonna start the approach at 8,000. That's gonna be our initial altitude. All right. From there, we're gonna start shooting the approach. Set up the radios, set up the course headings. So all we have to pretty much do is flip things back and forth. And I'm talking more so in terms of the Boeing and the Boeing plane. When we do it in the Cessna, it's gonna be a lot, not a lot, but it's gonna be a little bit more hands-on and making sure things are doing what they're supposed to. All right, so first things first, once we get situated, we're ready to go, we are going to exit the hold on a 307 inbound radio track to Gaviato. All right, we'll make a right turn outbound on a 099 degree course heading, and we're also going to be descending to 6,000. All right, once we get to 6,000, we'll maintain 6,000 until we reach the Zax intersection. All right, the way that we know that we are at the Zax intersection, if we lose any our secondary GPS depiction of it, we can also look and see that we're 20.7 nautical miles away from the Gaviato VOR, and that's how we can check it if we lose something. All right, another way we can check it is in the nav2 radio. We could actually program the San Marcos VOR, and track in, we can put in a 145 heading, course heading. We should be 8 nautical miles from San Marcos. That's another way we can check it to make sure we're at, see relatively where we are on the approach if we lose something. All right, that's just a little quick way to check, double check, triple check. All right, what we'll do is continue down the approach on that 099. Once we pass the Zax interception, probably about about maybe 3 nautical miles out after that, we'll start the 144 degree right turn, and we'll track it back. We'll start tracking towards we'll turn for a 324 degree to get around. Once we start to intercept the 279 track, which is our approach course, we'll now fly it to Zax. All right, before we go any further, during this turn we'll be descending down to 3,000. Once we get to 3,000, we'll cross over, connect with the 279, and we'll begin a descent down to 2,100. Should be at or above 2,100. And the reason that is because if we descend below 2,000, we're going to be below the GPS minimum. All right, so then, which means anything after that, we're gonna need to rely on well, really 1,000 feet. Let me say that 920. 920. Once you get below 920, The VOR is going to disconnect. The GPS is going to disconnect, and you're going to have to fly it in. All right. Continue down to Marins. Marins is going to be your final approach fix. You're going to track that from Zach's, and that's a 6 nautical mile ride, okay? I'm going to make this a little smaller because what ends up happening is when you get to Marins, in order to land, you're going to have to make a slight left turn into the runway. The approach is on a displaced runway. All right. Threshold is displaced. All right. So that's another reason why you cannot just fly this straight in. Your minimums become very critical, because if you don't see that runway by Marins, you could continue flying towards these hills. There's an obstacle here at 242. You might think that you turned spatially disoriented going left and you've gone right. It could turn really bad. That's the reason why the minimums are important on these instrument approaches. Now, visibility is great. Below 2,000 feet, you can see the runway from there. Hey, fly the approach. But when you get into those muddy situations, here's what you're going to need to do. And this will start the missed approach. All right. Missed approach requires you to climb climbing left turn to 4,000 via a heading of 205. And on the GVO radio, the Gaviota radio of 127, you'll fly that outbound to Gullet. Once you intercept Gullet, you can begin the hold again. So what does that look like? All right, we're flying. We get to Marins. Oh no, we can't see the airport. I'm going missed. I'm gonna say that this is our 205 heading. All right, you're gonna fly 205 towards this 127 radio off of the Gaviota VOR. Right, that's how you're gonna fly that. When you get to 127, start seeing, what you should see is you'll start seeing this needle as you fly towards it. You'll see that needle moving in. All right, once that needle centers, or it starts to get close to the center, that's when you're gonna start making your turn. Wrong color. That's when you're gonna start making your left-hand turn towards Gullet, and you'll track the 127 radio outbound. Once you get to the intersection of Gullet, you'll go ahead and enter the hold. All right. Way you fly the hold with a 370 outbound. Once you get into the hold, you'll make a figure 8, cut across, come back to the right, capture the 307 radio, and then you'll fly the hold from there. Continue to hold back. You'll backtrack it on a 127. All right, that's how you fly the approach. That's what this whole depiction is all about, what it's talking about. All right, now we look at the vertical depiction of it, and this basically is just really giving you the same information just on a vertical scale. And it the only difference is it's giving you from Zach's, which is the initial approach fix. All right, so from Zach's, we know we're on a 099 heading. We'll start our descent down to 3,000, which is during our precision turn. Once we get down 3,000, and we're basically on that 324 heading, we'll start to intercept, or we should intercept the 279 radio, because we're still going to be on the Gaviota VOR. We'll continue down to 2100 all the way and continue down to our minimums to Marin. Alright, so that's basically all this is a vertical depiction of the exact same thing from pretty much this point to the course reversal turn and then back into the airport. Alright. You needed to shoot the mist and get the Marins. You make that left turn 205. If you're going to continue and land, you're going to make a slight right turn, sorry, slight left turn. That'll bring you into the airport this way. It's not a straight in approach. Alright, so that's pretty much that in a nutshell. Okay. Lastly, we'll take a look here and we'll break this down. This just gives you some airport information. The depiction of the airport diagram. Pretty much. It also gives you a depiction of where 6.5 nautical miles from the final approach fix, which is Marin, so that would be here if you're tracking that 279. You got some obstacles off of the 33 left and right runways, some obstacles slightly right of the 15 right runway. Got your runway lengths and widths. Got the PAPI lights. Got rails here, and you've got the tower. Open star, meaning that the tower does close at a certain time. So that's pretty much it. Just a little depiction of the airport diagram. It also gives you some runway lighting information, which is runway 7 and 25 have the high intensity rail lighting, medium intensity rail lighting for runway 15 right and 33 left. So 33 right doesn't have any rail lights. And then you got runway, you got radio enabled lights on 15 right and radio enabled lights for runway 25. So if we were flying in after dark, or maybe let's say about 11:30 at night, we're coming in, towers closed, we'd be talking on Unicom 122.95, and being on 122.95, you can click the mic key that you key up to talk to ATC with, and I think you click it 3 times, and it'll, for every 3 times that you click it in succession, it brightens the lights. So that's what this section is here. And then last but not least, we'll talk about this little section here, which is very self-explanatory to an extent. But if you maintain your 2.96 degree glide path between Zax and Marins, which is 6 nautical miles. All right. If you're doing 60 knots, it'll take you 6 minutes to do it. 90 knots, it'll take you 4 minutes to do it. 150, 2 minutes 24 seconds. 180, it'll take you 2 minutes. All right. And it's just basically 123 minutes. It's basically telling you, hey, if you maintain either of these ground speeds, you can start your timer and you will know exactly where you are. Roughly, should be doing 60 knots. When you get 6 nautical miles away from Zax, you can check that. you should be at 6 minutes. It should at 5:58, 59. You should be crossing or at Marins. All right. You should also be seeing the runway. All right. So that is the breakdown of the chart here. The last part of this chart, which is a category, where the categories based on the equipment that you have in the aircraft, but it looks like for the most part the GPS is going to disconnect somewhere at 9:20, 9:10, somewhere in there. You're gonna lose you're gonna lose the GPS. All right, 1,000 feet, you're gonna lose. It's gonna disconnect. So you're gonna have to hand fly pretty much from let's just say somewhere in between Zax and Marins. I need to hand fly it down if you're on the GPS. That is the chart, guys. I hope this helps. Leave the comments. Let me know how I did. If I was good, if I was bad, if I was all right. Greatly appreciate it. I want to give a shout out, special shout out to my boy Green Light Auto Brokers for chiming in and getting me straight on some of the information. And yeah, we're gonna be keeping this going, guys. So I hope you enjoyed it. And until next time, we'll see you later. Be looking out shortly. There will be the approach video of the shooting the approach in the 737 and the Cessna 172. Holla. See ya.